So we're going to do Exodus chapter 7 and 8. And the Lord said unto Moses, See, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, and a little g god to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet. Thou shalt speak all that I command thee, and Aaron thy brother shall speak unto Pharaoh, that he send the children of Israel out of his land. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt. But Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that I may lay my hand upon Egypt, and bring forth mine armies, and my people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt, by great judgments. And the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord, when I stretch forth mine hand upon Egypt, and bring out the children of Israel from among them. And Moses and Aaron did as the Lord commanded them, so did they. And Moses was 80 years old, he's 80, and Aaron 83 years old, so he's 83. Aaron's older, when they spake unto Pharaoh. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, When Pharaoh shall speak unto you, saying, Shew a miracle for you, then thou shalt say unto Aaron, Take thy rod, and cast it before Pharaoh, and it shall become a serpent. And Moses and Aaron went in unto Pharaoh, and they did so as the Lord had commanded. And Aaron cast down his rod before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent. Then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers, now the magicians of Egypt. They also did in like manner with their enchantments. For they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents. They don't show that in the movie, huh? They just show one. So these people all like, we can do that. It's a bunch of them. But Aaron's rods swallowed up their rods. They just show one in that movie, in the Ten Commandments, huh? This is better. And he hardened Pharaoh's heart, that he hearkened not unto them as the Lord had said. If he's so powerful anyway, why does he need all these magicians? In fact, he has no power, right? Because it's all coming from them. And watch what happens. And the Lord said unto Moses, Pharaoh's heart is hardened, he refuseth to let the people go. Get thee unto Pharaoh in the morning. Lo, he goeth out unto the water, and thou shalt stand by the river's brink against he come. And the rod which was turned to a serpent shalt thou take in thine hand. And thou shalt say unto him, The Lord God of the Hebrews hath sent me unto thee, saying, Let my people go, that they may serve me in the wilderness. And behold, hitherto thou wouldest not hear. Thus saith the Lord, In this thou shalt know that I am the Lord. Behold, I will smite with the rod that is in mine hand upon the waters which are in the river, and they shall be turned to blood. So remember, in Exodus 4:16, God already told Moses this is going to happen. So he's already let him know this. It's not just suddenly. And he says because of his refusal, the plague of blood would immediately ensue. So they did this whole swallow the snake thing, and he's like, nope. And he's telling Pharaoh, take your rod, and when you see him go out in the morning, this is when this is going to happen. Thus saith the Lord, In this thou shalt know that I am the Lord. Behold, I will smite with the rod that is in mine hand upon the waters which are in the river, and they shall be turned to blood. So it's gonna be like Moses' hand is his hand. And the Lord spake unto Moses, say unto Aaron, take thy rod and stretch out thine hand upon the waters of Egypt, upon their streams, upon their rivers, and upon their ponds, and upon all their pools of water, that they may become blood, and that there may be blood throughout all the land of Egypt, both in vessels of wood and vessels of stone. And Moses and Aaron did so, as the Lord commanded, and he lifted up the rod and smote the waters that were in the river in the sight of Pharaoh, and in the sight of his servants, and all the waters that were in the river were turned to blood. So right in front of him, right in front of everybody, right in front of all his magicians, and the fish that was in the river died, and the river stank, and the Egyptians could not drink the water of the river, and there was blood throughout all the land of Egypt. And the magicians of Egypt did so with their enchantments, and Pharaoh's heart was hardened. What did they do? There's nothing they can do. Did what with their enchantments? Neither did he hearken unto them as the Lord had said. So he's still not listening. That's the Lord warned him. As he warned him, this was going to happen with the blood. And it just happened. And Pharaoh turned and went into his house. Neither did he set his heart to this also. So he's like, whatever. I don't really care. I have water. I have alcohol. It doesn't bother me that much. So what? Everybody else is dying. So what? I'm okay. Right? It's not affecting him. What does he care? Right? Right? Just like today, who are all these people? Klaus Schwab, Bill Gates, Ball, Epstein Gates, Joe Biden, whoever seeks positions of power, and unfortunately, for how bad we have been, God will put them in there. And this is just the story, and we will hear every single one of these, right? So they're just like, oh well, too bad, you can eat bugs. Yeah, it's okay. I have what I need, so it doesn't really matter what happens to you. So this is what's going on, and he just doesn't care that everything's turned into blood. He just really just is like, oh well, I don't care, and he just goes back in his house, and neither did he set his heart to this also. So he's like, oh well, I could care less about all you people, any of you. I don't care about the Hebrews, the Egyptians. I have my own water. Who cares? How dare you try to insult my, magicians? Like, so what? My magicians are going to figure it out. I don't really care. We're smarter than you, right? Okay. And Pharaoh turned and went into his house. Neither did he set his heart to this also. And all the Egyptians digged round about the river for water to drink. Oh yeah, sorry, it's not going to be the Hebrews. We'll see. You'll see how the Hebrews are protected. So during this, it's not the Hebrews that are getting affected. It is strictly the Egyptians. We will see this momentarily. Well, in the next few chapters. I think we have to get to 12 when we're explained about Passover and how when this happened to the 10th plague. So we're on 1. So when we get to 10, when the firstborn of all the Egyptian die, the Lord protected all the Hebrews This is Passover. You are to take the blood of the lamb, put it upon your doorpost. Do not open the door. We'll hear about that later. But then he stops it because, oh, it's affecting him. Yeah. So this is the first plague. It's like everything's turning to blood. He really doesn't even care. And he's going to continue not caring. And that's called your heart is like beyond hardened. And the Lord knew this was going to happen. He's like a Nephilim. He doesn't have a heart probably too much. That's the problem. He's got like some kind of like, I don't know. So, and all the Egyptians digged round about the river for water to drink, for they could not drink of the water of the river. It's not affecting the Hebrews. And 7 days were fulfilled. After that, the Lord had smitten the river. So, what I had studied a little bit, and I'll talk about it probably at the end more, is the timing of this. How long did all this last? And some people, well, I'll just say it now. Some people are saying it's like maybe it was like it had to have been under a year, definitely, because the only timing we have is going to be the first plague. They just said 7 days. And the 9th, they will say it was 3 days. And the 10th, that began in midnight, was one day. And that's the worst. Well, they're all bad. But, and then they think maybe it was a 40-day punishment because that's the number of punishment in the Bible. For the 40 days of rain with Noah, we've already read that. And 40 years wandering in the desert, we haven't got to that part yet, but unfortunately Moses is going through this one. And 40 days Nineveh was given to repent or be destroyed. And 40 days Goliath tormenting Israel before God helped David kill him. So also we just found out in this chapter that he was 80. Moses was 80 and Aaron was 83, or was it 84? 4 score and 3. So Aaron was 83, Moses was 80. And then they went shortly after into the wilderness, which took another 40 years. So that's 120, and that's when they say he died. So this had to have been, this whole plague scenario, it was definitely less than a year. And this thing about 40 days, so we're not given exact time, but right here at the end of chapter 7, and 7 days were fulfilled. After that, the Lord had smitten the river. Okay, we're going to go into chapter 8, and I think we're going to hear about 3 more plagues. It'll bring us up to 4 plagues. And it's interesting, the reasons for them, like, they're kind of progressively doing certain things, the way they're presented, these plagues. And I just read this thing about it. It was really, maybe I'll add it. But he's making him really mad. He's hardening his heart. That's just a way of, like, I don't know. That's just a nice way of just, this guy. So he just made everything blood, and his magicians are like, okay, we're going to figure something out, don't worry. So this is where we're at right now. They're like, oh, okay, don't worry, we're going to figure it out. Because Pharaoh's like, I really don't care. I have total, control and trust, and it doesn't bother me. So, chapter 8. And the Lord spake unto Moses, go unto Pharaoh, and say unto him, thus saith the Lord, let my people go, that they may serve me. And if thou refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all thy borders with frogs. In the river, and that's just interesting right off the bat, right? Because we hear about, is it in Revelation, book of Revelation, the 3 unclean spirits that look like frogs, right? So here we go with the frogs. In the river, one time before, I was in Los Gatos when I was young, and I got sent to Harker Military Academy, and there was like a plague of frogs there, but I loved them. They were tiny, teeny tiny frogs. And I was young, and I was just in love with these frogs. They were everywhere. It was like a plague. But they weren't big, gross frogs. I wonder, well, it was when it was unincorporated. Like, that was a long time ago, 40 years ago. But they were so cute. But this is different. And the river shall bring forth frogs abundantly, which shall go up and come into thine house, and into thy bedchamber, and upon thy bed, and into the house of thy servants, and upon thy people, and into thine ovens, and into thy kneading troughs. So there's going to be frogs. This is like an infestation, right? Like, when they talk about... Okay. And the frogs shall come up both on thee, and upon thy people, and upon all thy servants. And the Lord spake unto Moses, say... I'm sorry, I have to stop again. But it's like, even until this day, when there's like an infestation of any type of insect, like if it's flies or just roaches or whatever, I think it's really just demonic, because that's like an external, because that's what happens like internally if you're getting like possessed. You start getting infested probably with thoughts and bad stuff. But this is like an external, I don't know, I just thought of that. It's really gross. So this is just gross. And the frogs shall come up. It's like, even at first, I don't know if the children would mind that much about the frogs. But they're probably like huge, gross bullfrogs, like in the, Nephilim, Egyptian Nephilim, gross, giant. Maybe they're big as pigs or something. Like, who knows how big these frogs are. And the frogs shall come up both on thee, and upon thy people, and upon all thy servants. And the Lord spake unto Moses, say unto Aaron, stretch forth thine hand with thy rod over the streams, over the rivers, and over the ponds, and cause frogs to come up upon the land of Egypt. And Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt. And the magicians did so with their enchantments, and brought up frogs upon the land of Egypt. Now, how, if you're Pharaoh, like, how is that helping you? It's like, don't you want to get rid of him? Now, he's just really, this is just getting to be too much. Because what are they doing? They're playing a game. Oh, we can do that too. What do you want more frogs for? It doesn't make any sense. Magicians. That's why they're magicians, everybody. The Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron and said, entreat the Lord that he may take away the frogs from me. Why is he asking them? It's his own people bringing the frogs up. He needs to fire his magician. And look at this chapter, verse 7. And the magicians did so with their enchantments and brought up frogs upon the land of Egypt. And then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron and said, entreat the Lord that he may take away the frogs from me and from my people, and I will let the people go, and they may do sacrifice unto the Lord. Well, he needs to talk to you know who, because that makes no sense. And Moses said unto Pharaoh, glory over me. When shall I entreat for thee, and for thy servants, and for thy people, to destroy the frogs from thee and thy houses, that they may remain in the river only? And he said, tomorrow. And he said, be it according to thy word, that thou mayest know that there is none like unto the Lord our God. And the frogs shall depart from thee, and from thy house, and from thy servants, and from thy people. They shall remain in the rivers only. And Moses and Aaron went out from Pharaoh, and Moses cried unto the Lord because of the frogs which he had brought against Pharaoh. And the Lord did according to the word of Moses. And the frogs died out of the houses, out of the villages, and out of the fields. And they gathered them together upon heaps, and the land stank. So, come on, magicians, start, conjuring up some Febreze. What are they doing creating more frogs? Like, but when Pharaoh saw that there was respite, he hardened his heart. So the second he saw that was over with, he's like, oh, nope, get back to work. Get back to building your bricks with no straw. In the time you're supposed to make bricks with straw, just get back to work. No, it didn't even happen. So he's delusional. Like, he does not care. Like, what? Nothing has really happened to him that much. So what? There's frogs. He's gotten all the frogs out of his house. What does he care? Forget all the people. Forget all of them. Just like now, right? Don't worry about it. But when Pharaoh saw that there was no respite, he hardened his heart and hearkened not unto them as the Lord had said. So he keeps promising him, okay, it's okay, come back tomorrow. It'll be all right. Then they all die, and he's like, oh, change my mind. Nope. And the Lord said unto Moses, saying to Aaron, stretch out thy rod, and smite the dust of the land, that it may become lice throughout all the land of Egypt. And they did so, for Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod, and smote the dust of the earth, and it became lice in man and in beast. All the dust of the land became like lice through all the land of Egypt. That's like worse than bed bugs, because you can't get rid of them. Like, it's just everywhere. It doesn't matter if they're all shaven. They'll still attach to their skin. It doesn't matter. Nope. And the magicians did so with their enchantments to bring forth lice. Oh my gosh! Why are they continuing to? Wow. That's a whole, plague, and this is like 20 plagues. Because these people are just making it worse. They're like, oh, watch what we can do. It's like a bad cartoon, right? It really is. And the magicians did so with their enchantments to bring forth lice, but they could not. Why are they doing that? So there were lice upon man and upon beast. Why are they trying to bring forth more lice? You never thought about it this much. I never read it this. I totally went through Exodus with Cutting Edge. But he kind of talks about, there's just too much to talk about, really. But this is really sticking out to me. Like, why are they just trying to make it worse? Like, shouldn't they, trying to be stopping it? Wow. Then the magician said unto Pharaoh, this is the finger of God. You think? Blood, frogs, lice. Okay. But they could not. Oh, sorry. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he hearkened not unto them as the Lord had said. And the Lord said unto Moses, rise up early in the morning, and stand before Pharaoh. Lo, he cometh forth to the water, and say unto him, thus saith the Lord, let my people go, that they may serve me. Else, if thou wilt not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies upon thee, and upon thy servants, and upon thy people, and into thy houses. And the houses of the Egyptians shall be full of swarms of flies, and also the ground whereon they are. So the lice brings the scratching, the itching is going to bring open sores, but now the flies carry disease themselves. So each one is getting like just, okay, like the frogs, they're not going to go causing warts. They're just, I don't think that there are health. Well, yeah, there are. Once they rot everywhere, it's going to cause disease. Once they die and get piled up in heaps, and if they don't burn them or get rid of it, that will cause disease. Lice will cause them to rip their skin up, causing infection. They will cause their own infection. But the flies are bringing infection just themselves. Ew. Ew, they're going to bring infection into the open wounds people got from the lice. Yep. And you know what? They're just going to sit there and like stay there and like eat the open wounds. You know, actually, to be honest, here in San Francisco, sometimes, I heard this story in school, I did not have a patient like this, but sometimes they will find people in such bad condition that they actually have, maggots and stuff like that in their wounds. And actually, the thing is that, well, I don't work cardiovascular, but I have. And one of the hospitals here regularly will like use leeches to bring back, blood to an area that needs blood, because the animal naturally brings blood to the surface, right? And that's what you want if you have poor circulation. So they will actually treat some cardiac, some blood flow issues with leeches. So the thing about maggots is I have heard that in some cases they have just, sometimes you're alcoholic, you're just out who knows how long, and they'll find people, could have been like years, and they'll see some wounds, and then they have said that they do find like maggots, and they actually have protected the wound, and they have cleaned the wound, and it's like natural wound cleaning. Yeah, but this is different because they're already scratching themselves up bloody from having lice, and now, okay, it's okay. Apparently he doesn't have lice that bad, or he has some cream for the lice. He has some medicine that his magicians made him. He does not care, but now, his people, all the flies are gonna go. They're dirty and they carry disease, and they're gonna go into all the open wounds, and that is gonna cause worse disease. It's not like maggots that go in and clean, drunk people's wounds, and they actually keep the blood flow good in the area, which helps the wound. They eat the wound and they keep, anyway, it's just, okay. COVID. All right. Okay. Else, if thou wilt not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies upon thee, and upon thy servants, and upon thy people, and into thy houses, and the houses of the Egyptians shall be full of swarms of flies, and also the ground whereon they are. So you can't walk anywhere without crushing flies, too. Like, that's gross. Like, what kind of flies are they? Maybe they're flies that can pinch you. And I will sever in that day the land of Goshen, in which my people dwell, that no swarms of flies shall be there, to the end thou mayest know that I am the Lord in the midst of the earth. And I will put a division between my people and thy people. Tomorrow shall this sign be. And the Lord did so. And there came a grievous swarm of flies into the house of Pharaoh, and into his servants' houses, and into all the land of Egypt. The land is corrupted by reason of the swarm of flies. And Pharaoh called for Moses and for Aaron and said, Go ye sacrifice to your Lord, to your God in the land. He keeps saying the same thing. Go ahead, go ahead. Okay, it's okay. He said it now 3 times. Moses said, It is not meet so to do, for we shall sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians to the Lord our God. Lo, shall we sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians before their eyes, and will they not stone us? We will go 3 days' journey into the wilderness and sacrifice to the Lord our God, as he shall command us. And Pharaoh said, I will let you go, that you may sacrifice to the Lord your God in the wilderness. Only ye shall not go very far away. Entreat for me. And Moses said, Behold, I will go out from thee, and I will entreat the Lord that the swarms of flies may depart from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people tomorrow. But let not Pharaoh deal deceitfully any more in not letting the people go to sacrifice to the Lord. Okay, all right. He's had 4 chances now. He's had the blood, he's had the frogs, he's had the lice, he's had the flies. He keeps saying, okay, all right, yeah. Just fix that first. So Moses keeps fixing it, begging the Lord. Okay, he says he'll do it, but Lord knows he just needs to go through the process. He has to go through the process, everybody. And Moses said, Behold, I will go out from thee, and I will entreat the Lord that the swarms of flies may depart from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people tomorrow. But let not Pharaoh deal deceitfully any more in not letting the people go to sacrifice to the Lord. And Moses went out from Pharaoh and entreated the Lord. And the Lord did according to the word of Moses. And he removed the swarms of flies from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people. There remained not one. Woo! Those flies are gone. Raid. Jesus raid. Jesus hasn't come around yet, but God raid. And Pharaoh hardened his heart at this time also. Neither would he let the people go. He's a total nut. That is the end of chapter 8. Yeah, you think about it, like, how does this really even last, like, under a year? This seems... It's just a flurry, like a 40-day thing. It would seem kind of right. He is crazy. He's absolutely crazy, this guy. And he reminds us a lot of the people we have around here these days. It's the same exact attitude. It's the same exact behavior. Okay, yeah, sure, I'll do, yeah, no problem. Nope. It's like, wait. No, don't have to answer for anything. Just get rid of it. Oh yeah, no, I can't help you. Just get rid of it. No, I can't help you. It's a really good story, huh? All right, you guys have a good night.